Well, we're going to be talking about an event that's on Thursday evening this week, and it's involving the sort of way that the United Nations feel to this. With me is Andrew here, who is doing a talk about effectively obesity, but it's much more than just that, and people being fat, isn't it, Andrew?
Yeah. I mean, obesity is the obvious hallmark to the affliction that today we're suffering in society, but it's also related to other conditions associated with obesity. Metabolic syndrome is the term that's generally used to encapsulate these things like cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, certain types of cancers, and heart disease and hypertension.
Is it still seen as a Western disease?
Well, I think there is an image of, say, the American idea of bigger people, bigger portions, bigger drinks. But no, if you look at the statistics, then you'll find that it's a worldwide affliction at the present. So in my title for the presentation, it's the obesity pandemic. Can we stomach a solution? And I've specifically used the word pandemic to suggest that it's a worldwide affliction rather than just associated with the West or certain developed countries.
I mean, we all suffer from going to certain fast food places and they'll supersize you, for instance, and those sort of things. All of us can be easily taken in by eating more than we actually need. You got any advice on that?
Yeah, well, in the presentation, I try and suggest that no one chooses to be obese, and it's a sign of the times that so many are suffering from this affliction, this obesity and metabolic syndrome, and it's maybe there is something more to this. And what I suggest is there is a biochemical change occurring in our biochemistry due to what we're eating, and specific foods especially. And I really focus in on the prevalence of sugar in our diet, and specifically the component of sugar, fructose.
And yet nowadays people can have their stomachs stapled. There's cosmetic ways around this, obviously, and people can still have the lifestyle in the sense that they're used to without having to go on a diet, because obviously there's a willpower, isn't there, in this?
Yeah. This has come up when people talk to me who know that I'm doing the presentation, this idea of willpower, and people should be able to overcome this desire for these foods. But what I suggest is more of not a desire, but a compulsion to eat, and resulting from the biochemical changes which I allude to in my presentation and expand on, and that is causing this overconsumption, and focusing in on specific dietary foods and the removal of certain other nutrients such as fibre in the diet, which all play a component in where the position we're at today.
People are going to watch this and go, it's right for him. He's obviously goes to the gym. He's very slim, trim. I can't do it. You know, and I am suffering and probably got type 2 diabetes because of this, but I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I do. In my presentation, obviously, with my education on this subject, I've taken a lot of time to look into it, and a lot of my friends, I'm always making suggestions to them, and my work colleagues know that I'm very particular about the foods I eat and maybe get a bit anal over it. And but I try, and the role of my presentation is not to say this is right, this is wrong, but it's trying to educate people. And I think education is a key message. In people are consuming these foods, they're cheap, they taste good, and there's this compulsion to eat them. But with education, then people can start making the right decisions, and hopefully my talk will go a tiny bit way to assisting in that.
Okay, and your talk is where and when?
It's at the Pavilion in Nobles Park, and it starts at 7:30 p.m, but the doors will be open from 7 p.m, and it's free and anyone can attend, and the talk will probably last about 40 minutes, and then there'll be questions at the end.